Najaif actually released a video recently about the affinities, and if he's happy to, we can talk about it really quickly now.
The following are clips from a live stream held this past week with Scoriox and Ilinour. We discuss affinities, synergies, and dive deeper into a gameplay mechanic called Hyper. My name is Najaif, and I'm a professional ranger. Like all of you, I crash landed here in Illuvium with nothing. Join me on my journey as I capture and train Illuvials as I battle my way to the top. You're watching Najaif Plays Journey Through Illuvium. But yeah, go ahead and pull it up. I know you got it.
There you go.
So what is a plus? What is a minus here?
So the plus, so you have to look at the left side first. So you can start right at the top at air. So you go across air to air. If there's just the color and it's blank, that means there's no advantage or disadvantage.
Stop, Daddy.
You stop. And then, so if you go across to bloom, also no advantage or disadvantage. And then when you get to the plus sign for dust, that means air has an advantage over dust. And then, you just keep going further. Air has the advantage over earth. It has a disadvantage to fire. And then it just walks across that way.
So how did you get this data? It's all from the Discord, and you just created this Excel?
So just quickly, this is where I'm getting this information from. This was a chart I made early on, and I sent it to Aaron, who confirmed it. And you can also see to the box on the right, Aaron had mentioned at one point that water gets countered by 2 affinities and counters 2 other affinities. Same with Scion. So, saying that both affinities and classes work that way. So we know the matchup of the base affinities. And then, like I said, when you break down the upgraded affinities, going off of that base affinity chart, this is what you get.
Okay, but it's weird, right? Frost has no power over fire, no power over Inferno.
So let's see. So Frost
is air, I think.
Frost is air and water, right?
So air beats fire, and water loses.
Water
beats fire, and air loses to fire.
Yeah, so it falls right in the middle. So fire would beat air, but it would lose to water.
And
neutral. Frost is air and water together, so fire just falls in the middle. So to me, like I said, this is a slightly speculation, but that sounds like it's just going to be no advantage either way. Because which way would you put it? Here, Scoriox gives a quick explanation of the gameplay mechanic called Hyper, followed by some examples from Ilinour.
For all those in the audience that they're a bit unsure how Hyper works, my understanding is that I'll just take off the stream for a sec. My understanding is that if your opponent has a lot of air alluvials and you have a lot of fire alluvials, then your fire alluvials are just going to get a buff. They're just going to become stronger, faster, hit harder, things like that. And it seems just like a stat buff. It doesn't seem like their fire attacks do more damage, but rather the alluvial overall becomes stronger. Oh my God.
You cannot not laugh.
I can't.
So there's a lot that's unclear when it comes to the hyper mechanic, but here's some of my thoughts. So this is what it looks like when synergies get leaked on the Illuvium Discord. And if you look what's underlined in the blue, I think that's the true synergy. But what we have underlined in the white, in the green, I believe could be correlated to hyper. Because if you look at the white, it shows that for every air affinity or every air stack on the board, you'll gain that dodge chance. And then for nature, every nature stack, you'll gain some health recovery. So that would mean with nature on the board, Spore acts more like nature, and with more air on the board, Spore acts more like air.
You actually have those hybrid illuvials that will start to take affinity based on the other illuvials that you have. Let's say the example was with steam. So if you have, it was water and fire, something like that. So if you had a lot of water affinities in your group with the steam one, they would look like more like water, and plus they would help in different ways. But if you had more fire, then they would be more aggressive and hit more. So it's not as if, well, based on this description, it's not as if steam would be kind of neutral to fire and water. You'll have a lot of changes based on what are the other illuvials. Plus, same with poison, etc. If you've got more water, then your poison is stronger, maybe resist another one.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. We compare type advantages in Illuvium to Pokemon in this exchange. It's going to be very complex with all of these different factors, but it's going to make more sense than Pokemon does. Because Pokemon's not fair. There are some types in Pokemon that have strengths against so many other, types and weaknesses to very few. I think Alluvial is going to make more sense, but be probably more complex, if that makes sense.
Way more complex, yeah.
Here we have the chart of Pokemon on top and the chart I made of Illuvium on the bottom. You can clearly see on the top how complicated it is. Each type seems to have a different relationship to all other types, and it doesn't seem to be even in any way. And then you have some advantages of ×2, 1.5, disadvantages of 0.5. It just seems very confusing, where I think Illuvium is going to be a lot more simple.
I think that's interesting. Yeah, you're right. I come from a lot of competitive Pokemon. And you're right that some types are considerably better than others. Things like Steel being probably the best defensive typing, and Fairy's recent edition making it one of the strongest offensive types next to like Fire and Ghost. But the big difference with Pokemon is that it is about the balance of the team. It doesn't matter if Steel is the best type in the game. If you have 6 Steel types, you're going to lose. And that's the same in Illuvium. You need your team has to be a certain level of balanced. So if you have all water types, then one nature type is just going to whoop you.
If you want to see the full uncut stream, I'll have a link to the video over on Scoriox's channel. His goal is to have a weekly stream just like this, and I look forward to being invited back on the show sometime soon. Thank you for watching and joining me in my journey through Illuvium.